Hello, I'm Vicky and I'm here at the head office of one of the UK's largest providers of ICT equipment to the educational market. I'll be meeting John Sutton, who is going to be showing us some of the wide range of products and telling us about the huge benefits they can bring to your learning environment. Now I'm here with John Sutton, who's going to tell us all about the Genee Vision 6100 Visualiser. Hi, John. Now, we have a laptop. Yeah. We have here a projector. Yeah. And this, to me, it looks a little bit like a sort of a portable overhead projector. Is that what it does?
It's one of the functions that it has, yes, but it does a lot more things as well. I'll open it up now, so I'll raise this arm up and turn that round, and that is a camera inside there. And then on the side we have additional lighting, which I can control from a button here and switch that on and off like so.
Now, how easy is a kit like this to move around a classroom or a school?
It's very easy because there's only a few connections that you've got to worry about. There's one connection going to my projector, onto my whiteboard or onto my screen, and then I've got another connection here which is going to my laptop, so I can actually feed the laptop through as well. And then I've got a USB connection so I can start capturing images and send those across to my laptop or PC.
Now, you were a teacher for 20 years,
yes.
So you know what works in a classroom.
Indeed, yeah.
What is it about this that you think is so unique?
The first thing is, I think, is the quality of the image that you're going to get, but also the simplicity and ease of use, because as a teacher I want something that's going to be quick and easy for me to use and it's effective, and that's certainly what this does in a classroom. Let me give you an example of this. If I want to share a piece of work that a child has just done for me, I can simply place it underneath here and I can use the zoom button here to zoom in and out on that piece of work, and there is that work instantly displayed for me there on the screen for everybody in the class to see.
It's remarkably sharp, isn't it?
It is. It self-focuses, and it also adjusts itself for light as well. So as you saw, all I had to do was literally just place it underneath and it does everything else for me. So it's really easy to use.
And you said there that it had the focus, so you can do what you want with it, but actually if you just stuck something underneath, it would automatically just bring it up that sharp.
Yeah, exactly like we've just done there, just place it underneath, away you go. It doesn't have to be writing, of course, it could be an object of some kind. So if I'm teaching science and I'm using a meter like this, I could zoom in on that meter so that everybody could see what's happening on there. And I don't even have to hold it there. I've got another button here that says freeze, and I can freeze that and then take the object away. So that is now frozen on there. If we show that with the writing again, so if we press freeze, it releases that function. Let's put the writing back on here. So that's a piece of students' work. We want to talk about that, press the freeze button and take the work away, and the image is just held up on the screen there.
And
like so.
I mean, how many images could you keep and keep working through?
You can actually save up to 7 images in its memory using the save button, save feature, and then you press the recall button to actually recall those images. So it'll save up to 7 in its memory at one time.
Now, we're very close to it here. Yeah. Is this as close? You have to work with it on this level with the buttons here?
No, there's a remote control which lives in the side here, so I just take that out. And the remote control has all the same buttons as we've got on the unit here. So I can walk away from the unit and then just control everything from here if I wish to. And then if I've got a large item which I'm projecting underneath there, so I'll zoom that up and I want to scroll down the page, for instance, on that, then I can press the scroll button using the remote control or from the unit itself, and you can see that's automatically scrolling down the page. So you could be at the
back of the classroom?
Yes.
And actually working the whole thing?
I could be, yes, just using the remote control, zooming in and out, scrolling up and down, and using any of the features just from the remote control.
Now, we've done paper and print, and we've had a slight look at that, but so you can use 3D objects as well?
Yes, you could place something like an object like this. Maybe we've been out on an investigation, we found some fossils, for instance. Let's place one of these underneath. We could zoom up and we could have a really close-up look at that, like so, and you can see all the time you get this beautiful clear image, and we can really focus in and see everything in fine detail. Obviously in a class normally, if I just held that up, nobody would be able to see it in the classroom, but placing it underneath the visualiser, everybody can now see what we're talking about.
It's interesting you saying that, because it's not just for print, is it? There must be a lot of subject matter that can be covered using this.
Oh, indeed, it goes across all subjects. I could give you examples for, I think, every subject that's taught in the curriculum. English, we could display text. History, we could display photographs. Geography, we could display maps, and so on and so forth. We've got a feature here called split screen, and I'll show you how that works. if I place underneath the visualiser here an example of a marking grid that we might use in the classroom. So if I zoom out, so we've got that held on the left-hand side of the screen, like so. And then if I press the split button, what will happen now is it will save that on the left-hand side of the screen. So press split there, and you can see it's grabbed that image, and that is now displayed permanently.
So that will stay there, and then you can put other items, move other things.
So on that grid, we've got criteria, marking grid, and next to that, I might place some students' work like this, and then we could have a look at that grid, and we could say, right, let's see where we think that piece of work fits into that grid, and that's what we might call an assessment for learning type activity.
Now you say this is paper, but if you were, say, wanting to work with something bigger, how can this be used in the classroom?
Right, we could actually turn the head as well if we wish to. So if we can't fit what we need underneath it there, let's take that split screen off. We could also angle it and move the head round so that we're actually looking at something else.
Right, so you could, what type of things could you
So we could project it across the classroom. We could look at, say, a student who's working on a machine. Maybe they're showing you how to thread up a sewing machine in a textile technology lesson. Or it could be in a science lab where we were working on the lab there because we don't want to work with chemicals underneath here or liquids. Or it could be in a technology situation where I'm demonstrating a process such as soldering, so I want to do it
So
on the
really,
bench.
it could be massive. I mean, you could be using anything.
Yeah.
And it would still be able to
still be on there. I could even
projected.
use it in a gym or a PE hall where I throw it around and use it like a normal video camera and actually video a student performing some kind of
Oh, that would be
action.
wonderful. So you could actually then go back and look at how their body shape was and how they actually carry out moves. So it really is that big.
Oh, yes, you can project over a huge distance. It actually goes up to 220 times zoom. It'll go up to 22 optical, and then it turns digital and goes up to 220. So it'll throw over a very big distance if you want it to.
What about if you're working with something that is sort of more 3D? How does the zoom work with that? Will anything be blurred, or can you manually use it?
You can actually have a manual override. So one of the buttons you've got on here and on the remote is one called near and far. So if I'm wanting to focus on what's there, and then I put my finger here, what will happen is I can focus on what's nearest and then what's furthest away by pressing near and far on there, and you can see it just refocuses itself on what's nearest or furthest away. So there is a kind of manual override using the buttons there if you've got a large three-dimensional item.
Now, we've talked about the subject matter that this can be used for. What about ages? Is it any specific age group it's good for, the whole curriculum?
No, I think it goes across the whole curriculum, right from nursery right up to university level. And traditionally in nursery we have show and tell activities when children might bring things in and we place them underneath and they can talk about it to promote speaking and listening. Right through up to university level where we've got lecturers who are placing complex diagrams or again students' work or artefacts underneath there that they want to talk about and share with the students that are attending the lecture. So it can go across all levels really.
What about for children or students who have special needs? Are there any unique features on this that can help them in the education process?
Yes, there are. If I placed some text underneath here, I'm going to open this book and place that underneath now. Traditionally, text would be, as we can see on here, black on white. Now, what I can do with this, if I press a button here that says negative on there, what I can actually do is reverse that, and now we have white on black. And that is really useful for children who might have a sight difficulty. It's much easier for them to read white on black than it is black on white. So I could just by pressing that negative button there, I can do that. And of course, I can also zoom in on that text. So I can make the text as big as I want to on there as well, and then just scroll around if I wish to, so everybody can see that. I could also record myself doing sign language using this and then play that back by using this as a normal video camera. Now,
even though I'm not the brightest when it comes to buttons, I have spotted lights.
Right.
What facilities do these offer?
Now, if I needed extra lighting on the top here, I can press the button that says lamp and that will light it from above, like so. If I press that again, then the light will come from beneath. Now, a good example of where we might use that is if we're trying to show a negative such as this, and we're trying to focus on something like positives and negatives. So I'm going to place a negative image on there now, and then I'm going to zoom that up so that negative actually fills the whole screen, like so. And you can see with that light behind you get a really good view of that negative. Now, if I press the negative button now, you can see that reverses and we get the positive back again.
That's amazing.
It is, isn't it? So there's the negative. and there is the positive, so I can use it in that way.
And that is the picture as it would.
Yeah, exactly how it would be. Yeah, as big as you want it, depending on how big you're projecting to. And if I combine that with the split screen as well, as you can see, it's taken a copy of what's on the left and is projecting it on the right. That's still a live image. Press the negative button now, and you can see that's the negative and that's the positive. So I can actually have the two.
Comparing and contrasting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I can have the two like that very easily, like that.
Now then, if you were going to have one side of the screen with just, say, the image, could you actually be working on the other side of the split screen, actually physically doing something or showing something, or do they both have to be static?
No, you can be doing a different thing on the other side. So if I zoom back out again on this now and take that light off for a minute, like so, and I'll use the example now of this torch. So maybe I want to explain to you about what goes on inside a torch. I can actually place the torch on the left-hand side, and you'll see it'll focus itself up. It's always going to automatically focus on there. There we go. And then I'm going to press the split button, so it's going to hold that image for me. And then on the right-hand side here...
That is a remarkable...
What I'm going to do here, you can watch me do something here. So you're actually watching this as a class on the screen as I'm taking this to pieces underneath here. And then what I can actually do is zoom you right in on this bulb if I wish to. So pressing the zoom in button, there we go, right in, and you can see right inside the bulb there.
And that is fantastic, because you have it in its original form, which makes it easier for students to relate to.
Exactly.
When you've taken it apart or anything like that, really. They can see the bits that go together.
That's right.
To make up.
Yeah. Another example of use of that might be if I was doing simple division down in Key Stage 1 with the younger children. I would put, say, 20 counters on the left-hand side and then freeze them. And on the right-hand side, I could work here and split those off into groups and divide them up. And it gives those children who are very visual learners that idea of the 20 counters on the left. They can still see those all of the time, even though I'm regrouping them on the right. So it's very useful. Another example might be if I was teaching children about the flowering plant, and you put the flower underneath so they then capture it on the left, and on the right-hand side I could work live, and I could pull away the petals and talk about the anther and the pollen and everything else that goes up to make the flower, and pull those bits, and they can actually see me working live. But all the time we can refer back to what we started. Yeah, that's it. We can refer back to what we started with.
Now, all of the things that we've done here, all the images that we've captured, can you use them, or can the students use them after this is sort of, we've packed up and gone home?
Yes, if I've captured that using the laptop, then those can be converted in format and posted up on a virtual learning environment or a school website or a portal and made accessible to your students, so they can go and download those whenever they wish to onto their iPod, onto their PC, onto their phones, so it becomes all-time anywhere learning effectively. And they can, on the build-up to revision for exams, they can just download that material and review it whenever they wish to. But also for me as a teacher, I can store things away. That's useful for me too, for teaching and learning. So if I need an example of something that I've done on here, I can bring it back as a video and replay it back to my students. Or if I'm away from a lesson, they can use that as well.
So it's good for you.
Yes.
It's good for planning of lessons, and like you say, keeping a sort of a history of what you've done throughout your lessons, but also great for students who maybe are happier learning at their own speed and don't always take things on a one hit.
That's right. They can review it as many times as they wish to. So as soon as I've recorded it, I can play it back in the lesson if I wish to. So having just watched me demonstrate something, we can then play that back to those students who need to just see that again. At that point in the lesson, they might just have arrived late, or they might not have caught everything that I said. I can put it back on a loop and replay that, and then they can watch it during the lesson.